We are here to watch The Batman, courtesy of HBO Max. It's very weird to be doing a live watch of a movie that I do not physically own. I can't show you the Blu ray. I have this movie pre ordered. I think it's coming out in May. So eventually I will own the Blu ray, but right this second I do not own it. Um, but yeah, I'm using HBO Max. I do not have the ads, thankfully, on HBO Max. It's ad free. I paid the extra $5 or whatever it is. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie, I did rewatch this movie already um, on HBO Max because I wanted to prepare. Let's fucking go! So right now, the live watch, it will be my fourth time watching the Batman. I saw it twice in theaters. I've seen it once on HBO Max. Now we're seeing it again right now. Yes, the ads would be ridiculous, especially during a 3 hour Batman movie. Yeah, the ads would drive me nuts. So I said, fuck it, ad free. Um, I got some drinks to prepare so that I'm not having to get up and go get shit. I know it's a long movie. I probably should have got snacks, but I'm not hungry right now. So, but this movie, man, this movie hits hard. You know what I mean? This movie does not hold back. Let me just get. I'm gonna pull up the movie now. All right. So there it is, The Batman. It's in 4K. Um, I don't know if that like I have a PS5. I don't know if it shows 4K or if that's I don't know. Do I need to get a newer TV? I don't know. I'm gonna put the. Can I put the captions? All right. I don't know if you guys are gonna be watching along with me. Oh, okay. So that's a good question. Will people be talking about this movie? Because people still talk about Dark Knight, and Dark Knight was 14 years ago now, right? Um, I mean, shit. That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. That's tough. Hey, what's up, Shadow Bear? We have not started the movie yet. We will be very soon. Um, you're definitely watching along. Nice. Okay. Cool. 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 Nice. 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 Um, all right. I'm putting the subtitles on, English subtitles, just in case I end up missing something. Um, but yeah, I think the big thing that Dark Knight had, because Dark Knight is a great movie, right? Directing, acting, cinematography, story, script, action, like it all pretty much works on those levels. But The Dark Knight had Heath Ledger as Joker. And Heath Ledger as Joker, that sends the movie to the next level. You know, everybody was talking about Heath Ledger's Joker. And as good as Paul Dano is, as good as everybody is in this movie, there's not that Heath Ledger level performance. So I think the Batman 2, or whatever the second Batman movie is called, that's going to need to have a villain performance. It doesn't have to be the Joker. You know, it could be a different villain. It could be whoever, but that has to stand out probably to push it over to that next level. Yeah, Heath Ledger. People still talk about Heath Ledger as if he's still around. You know, just as far as people still say he's the best Joker ever. He'll never be topped as Joker. People, go back and look at some of his other movies. Um, you know, I remember, what was it? I forget. Was it the 10-year anniversary of his death? Whatever it was, I went back and watched a bunch of Heath Ledger movies that I had not seen before, and he has a lot of really good performances. Obviously, Dark Knight is at the top because it's such a high profile role, and it's taking a iconic villain and transcending it to a different level, you know. And but yeah, I think it's time. I think we should just get started because this is a long movie. So let's just fucking. If you guys are ready, I currently have the Batman paused 0.00, literally the beginning. If you guys are ready, we're gonna press play in three, two, go. Yeah, and here we go. I love that. All right. I think I'm gonna first drink a Red Bull because it's a long movie. Not like I'm in danger of getting tired, but just want to make sure my energy level's up there. All right, Ava Marie play the Batman. I love that red, big red font of the Batman. It just looks. It's simple, but it's striking. You know. I need to get that T-shirt. There's a T-shirt that says the Batman like that. I don't know why I don't own it. I haven't seen it in a store yet. Probably have to buy it online. All right, here we have the Riddler looking at the house. Music's dope. Yes, music is dope. Not just this piece of music, but Michael Giacchino's score is amazing. Amazing. It's got to be very hard to create a Batman theme, an epic, iconic Batman theme after Danny Elfman, after Hans Zimmer, after so many people have done it and done it well. And then Michael Giacchino comes over and says, "Hold my beer." There's a Batman cartoon called The Batman. Yeah, yeah, I've seen that before. Um, First thing I thought of when I heard the name of this movie, when I heard that they were calling it The Batman, I thought of that show. Um, I watched most of that show. I don't know if I saw every single episode, but I saw most of it. It was a cool show. Here we go. Halloween. Was it 2013? Okay. Yeah, I definitely watched most of that show, if not all of it. Very cool that the first beginning of this movie is Halloween. I love that. Batman on Halloween just makes all the sense in the world, you know? Um, when when people first saw this movie, did you think that the little kid with his parents that were watching through the window, did anybody think that was young Bruce Wayne and his parents at first? I think I did. Yeah, you have your two candidates, although I believe he's running for re-election of mayor, this guy. And that was creepy when you realize that somebody's behind him and he's in the dark, and the way the mask looks, how still he is, how quiet he is, very creepy. This intro felt the most like a horror thriller or a Zodiac killer, Seven type vibe. The most probably was this opening. I am vengeance. This guy just found out that um, the other candidate, the woman, is tied with him as far as public opinion. And this whole like waiting for him to strike. There we go. His fucking scream. And the score is totally like a horror movie. Oh, it's perfect. But I love that the Riddler, he might look intimidating and scary in the get up and the mask and his deep projected voice that he uses in his videos might be scary, but as a man, he's not physical or imposing at all. He put everything he had into that one blow to the back of this guy's head, right? Um, and he's got to attack these people from behind, or um, the breathing is very creepy as well. I am definitely fascinated with this version of the Riddler. I don't know if I'm gonna say he's my favorite version of the Riddler because obviously when I think of the Riddler, here we go, Bruce Wayne's journal entry, October 31st. But when I think of the Riddler, I either think of Jim Carrey or I think of him looking like an ordinary person is what. Yeah, absolutely. That is what makes him scary. Is that he's just a regular dude. Like when you see Paul Dano later on, and you realize that he's just a guy, right? A guy who's crazy enough to do the things that he's doing, but he's not big. He's not imposing. He looks like a dude that would just walk right next to you on the street. I love Bruce Wayne, Batman narrating. He doesn't narrate the whole movie, obviously, but the beginning and the end, you hear. I love being inside Batman's head. It's very rare that we get that in a movie. I feel like comic books are the only times we ever really get that. Uh, it's just very cool. Very cool to hear what Batman thinks of Gotham, what Batman thinks of the criminals, his tactic of using fear on them, and why he does it, how much he knows it works. It's his point of view. Um, some people complain that Batman movies, a lot of Batman movies aren't about Batman enough. You know, what is your opinion of Robert Pattinson not speaking extremely low? You don't think he's speaking extremely low? I feel like he is speaking low, right? Um, he almost has like a low. It's like a loud whisper. It reminds me of Christian Bale's Batman Begins voice, because Christian Bale, his Batman voice in The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises was gravelier and like people always make fun of it. But if you go back to Batman Begins, Christian Bale, it's similar. The level, the low tone of his voice. You didn't know Christian Bale was a Brit? Yeah, man. I love this. I love seeing the criminals afraid, looking into the dark, looking into the shadows, being scared, seeing the symbol and being like, "Oh fuck, he's out there right now. Like he could be there. He could be watching me right now." It's such a good opening. I fucking love this. I love the music. I love the whole. They think I'm hiding. There's a theme. Da 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 da. But yeah, that one shot of the dude, his paint goes into the darkness, and he's like, "Fuck, I'm not going there." I just love it. I love it. Can't stress enough how much I love that. Do you guys think that this gang, their face paint, is inspired by the Joker, or do you think that they're connected to the Joker at all, Or is it just a coincidence? As Buster Rhymes say, fear motivates. Haha. Nice. Buster Rhymes quote. Some of you might know this actor, the young kid with the half face paint, is the same actor that played Jason Todd in Titans season 3. It's kind of weird, right? It's like, wait, is he? Do we think his character is going to become something, or is it just sheer coincidence? Dark Knight Rises or the Batman? I'm gonna say the Batman, but Dark Knight Rises, I probably like Dark Knight Rises a lot more than most people do. I give the Batman a slight edge. Slight. It's very close. It's closer to me than probably to most people. I love the footsteps. You hearing the loud footsteps coming closer and closer. Um, and this moment was so fucking epic in the trailer, right? That first trailer that ends with this scene of him kicking this dude's ass. Boom. Break his arm. Boom. 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 And then it keeps going on the ground. I fucking love it. I can't get enough of it. I'm vengeance. I'm vengeance. I love that the whole I'm vengeance thing. We saw that in the trailer and we thought, holy fuck, this Batman hits harder, he's angrier, he's going to be brutal, and he is. But I don't think any of us expected that the whole I'm vengeance thing would become the theme of this movie. That Riddler would take the I'm vengeance theme and create the Riddler from it, or that Riddler's minions would say I'm vengeance, that they were inspired, the Batman inspired villains to take his same philosophy and use it for bad. And the fact that Batman ends this movie pretty much saying, I can't be vengeance anymore. That's not changing for good. That's turning people, it's creating monsters. And this guy, Batman just saved this guy's life. And this guy's afraid of Batman. You know, he's not, even innocent people look at the Batman and say, fuck, I don't know if this guy can be, trusted, or if he's a villain too, right? Bruce narrating is giving me Rorschach vibes. Exactly, yes. That is one thing, probably the reason why Rorschach was my favorite character in Watchmen, is his narration and getting inside his head. So, very, very good comparison there. The Dark Knight or the Batman? Oh, come on, of course, the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is my shit. I'm not. I don't want to say never. Maybe one day there will be a movie that surpasses the Dark Knight. But as of right now, the Dark Knight's still number one. I love how these cops do not like Batman, are not okay with Batman coming into this crime scene. Only Gordon vouches for him. Only Gordon sticks up for him. Only Gordon is like, no, he's cool. I love that dynamic. It's even more interesting because because this isn't an origin, we don't see how their relationship got started or why Gordon trusts him so much. We just trust it. We know Batman and Gordon's relationship. We trust that whatever did happen, it makes sense. It works. And I think, what is the best root beer? I don't like root beer. I don't drink root beer. So I can't answer that. I love that Batman's just in the way. He's just standing there in the way of this guy. It's weird that I'm playing Batman Arkham City. Oh, nice, Jenna. How you doing, Jenna? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. I love how easily Batman can just be like, "Oh yeah, he was alive," you know. Did you ever try the Little Caesars Batman? Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? There is not a Little Caesars near me at all. Um, I thought about making the trip because it's pretty far from where I am, but everybody told me that it sucks. Like a friend of mine was like, "It's not worth it, dude. Don't even bother." So as much as I want to try it, I do want to try it. There's a huge part of me that wants to look at that big Batman symbol of a fucking pizza or calzone, whatever, and just even if it sucks, it very well could suck. But I want to at least find out for myself. Cheese was better than the pepperoni. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm a big pepperoni person, but I mean, maybe if you just don't like pepperoni, I don't know. Here we have the commissioner, very angry commissioner. It makes you wonder how much of this commissioner. It makes you wonder how much of this commissioner is he freaking out because he's corrupted, and maybe he's afraid of himself getting exposed, found out, or is it just simply he doesn't like Batman? I haven't seen you because of school. Oh, okay, Jenna, that's cool. I'm glad. I'm glad you have not left the community. It tasted like dog pup pepperoni. Well, I've never had that, so okay. Happy fucking Halloween. We get that's our one F bomb of the movie. And it's very early on. I remember when I first saw this and I was like, oh shit, we're F word right off the bat, huh? Um it's funny though, because if you told me that this movie was rated R, I'd probably believe you. The tone, the cursing, some of the kills. I mean, it's not like we see a lot of blood, but it skirts that edge, similar to Dark Knight, where it's like it's almost there. It cuts away at just the right time to not be R, but it's close enough to where if you told me it was R, I might believe you. You just unlocked the grapple boost. Nice. The grapple boost is one of my favorite moves in the Arkham games. Yep. No other Batman movie used the F word. Yep. That's because I totally could have seen The Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises throw out an F bomb. I could have seen Catwoman say the F word. I could have seen the Joker say it. But yeah, this is the first one. The Batman suit reminds me of the Gotham Knight suit. The Gotham Knight suit. You mean from the that animated movie? It's the it's it's the collar, right? It's the collar from the cape. I can see that. I can see that. And we got Nirvana. I do very much like this song because it's a song that I had heard. I remember hearing, but this movie definitely brought it back for me. It's definitely back in my rotation of what I listen to. If Dark Knight was rated R and the Batman was R2, shit, I missed that comment. Hold on. Uh, you have a nephew who's 9 or 10, and this would be too frightening for him. Probably, probably. This movie's pretty dark. If it was, do you think they would have? It would have been even better. If Dark Knight or this was rated R, would it be better? I don't think it would be better. I think it's fine just the way it is, if I'm being honest. I don't need Dark Knight and the Batman to like have blood and gore, or to have more F words, or like I don't need that. I don't. Doesn't Batman drop the F bomb? That's true, Jenna. Ben Affleck's Batman does say, "I will fucking kill you" to the Joker. I didn't really like that. I don't hate it, but it seemed kind of like, what? Where'd that come from? It makes more sense that a different character would say the F word in a Batman movie as opposed to Batman saying it. It reminds me when Titans, the first episode, Dick Grayson says "fuck Batman," and I'm like, all right, guys, I know you're trying to be fucking hard and trying to be edgy and cool, but it just felt over the top, you know. I love Batman having the contacts that record everything directly from the Batman Telltale games. I don't know if you guys remember that. In the Telltale games, Batman has contacts that record everything that he does. And I could not believe this movie did it. I was like, holy shit, this is like the Telltale games. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that feels like direct references to the Tell. I don't know if Matt Reeves played the Telltale games. It was like, let's fucking do this shit. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. He has a co-writer on this. Maybe the co-writer played those games. I don't know. You wish we got the white eyes. I mean, I know what you mean, but I think the white eyes work best for the animated. Um, you know, there is something about seeing Batman's eyes, like Bruce Wayne's eyes when he's Batman, that kind of keeps him grounded. Um, so it depends. I like that the Ben Affleck armored Batman suit had the glowing eyes. Like that made sense, right? I don't know how it would look to have Batman in his regular suit with white eyes. Maybe it would look cool. I really like I really like Andy Serkis as Alfred. And I love um Rated R Turbo Man movie with Jamie and Howard. What? The fuck? This is Batman being more of a detective? Absolutely. Absolutely. For years, people would beg and scream, I want a Batman detective movie. Everybody would say it. I I wanted it too, but I wasn't one of the people who said, "Oh, Batman's never been a detective in a movie." Right? Michael Keaton did detective stuff in Batman '89 when he figures out Joker's cosmetic combinations that create his gas and kills people. Like that requires detective work. Christian Bale in The Dark Knight does some detective work when he's going to crime scenes and he looks at the bullet on the wall and he recreates the shell casing. And but this movie is definitely elaborate. It's all about the detective stuff. And you know what? That's great. One movie where it's all a detective story, absolutely awesome. Yeah, Batman told he wasn't his dad. Yep, yep. I did feel that. I did feel bad for Alfred when Bruce said, "You're not my father." But it does seem like this Bruce Wayne, because this is only his second year being Batman, he is very angry. He is very, um, he is in a dark path right now. He's in a dark place. And it's not until the hospital scene later with Alfred where it felt like maybe that's the first time Bruce opens up to him and says that he cares about him. And he acknowledges that Alfred has been the father figure to him. So I think Bruce isn't there yet. as far as being vulnerable and open to Alfred. But I know what you mean. It did kind of go, ooh, ouch. I love how much Alfred is capable and he's like attempting to solve these fucking um, letters and shit. Willy Wonka drunk live stream next. This is the second Alfred who does not take Bruce Wayne talking back to him like Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons, yeah. Jeremy Irons had a smart mouth and kind of like talked back to him a little bit, yeah, too. But Michael Caine gave Christian Bale some shit. Drive. Ryan Gosling. Anyone see that movie, Drive? I haven't seen that in a while. I gotta rewatch that. Um, a Willy Wonka. You talking about the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie? Fuck, I don't know, dude. I don't know if I can sit through that. That movie, I watched it once and it was rough. It was rough. I might have seen it twice. I don't know. It would depend on how many people would want me to do it. Cause I'll do it for you guys, but I love, I love Gordon being like, I've known you for 2 years and I don't even know who you are, man. I love the way Jeffrey Wright talks to him. Jeffrey Wright is such a down to earth, chill, relatable, realistic Gordon. Alfred had many jobs, and one of them was FBI agent, right? Or if I'm mistaken, it depends. It depends on which. Did you see the concept art from the Batman suit? It was gonna look like gray and blue. I did not see that. No, but that sounds awesome. Gray and blue. Thumb drive. um. So it depends on which comic book run for Alfred you're talking about. Most of the more recent Alfred stuff has him have a military background. So I don't know about FBI, but he's definitely the thumb drive thing is hilarious. It is hilarious. It is. Thumb drive. Especially because of how serious Pattinson says it. Yes, Willy Wonka, Johnny Depp, Willy Wonka live. I mean, hell, maybe I'll do it in support of Johnny Depp for the bullshit that he's going through right now. But as much as I like Johnny Depp, that I can't defend that fucking movie. I'd rather watch Edward Scissorhands or you know, I don't know what's Johnny Depp's best movie. I don't know. What do you guys think? I love this. I fucking love the fact that we finally have a live action Batman movie where the Iceberg Lounge is a thing. I cannot believe that I, in my lifetime, am watching the Iceberg Lounge and you're watching the fucking twins, right? The Humpty. Are they supposed to be the Humpty Dumpty twins? But just obviously, they don't look like Humpty Dumpty. They're just two twin criminals. I love though Batman just coming right through the front door, kicking their asses, walking through, and fighting his way through the nightclub. It's similar. It's like a longer version of that scene in The Dark Knight. Do you guys remember in The Dark Knight when Batman fights through the club to get to Eric Roberts, and he fights through his men and then grabs Sal Maroni right before he drops him out the fucking window? There's just something about Batman in a nightclub kicking people's asses to get to the person that he really wants to go through. Some of the scenery looks like the Arkham Knight game. I agree, man. Absolutely. Yep. especially the way how he took that bat from the guy and used it on him. The fighting style very much reminds me of the Arkham. Like I could totally see this area being an Arkham mission. Take it easy, sweetheart. There he is, Colin Farrell. I can't get over this makeup. The makeup's incredible. This might be the greatest makeup, like fat makeup, whatever you want to call it. It might be the greatest makeup job I've seen in as far as looking convincing, as far as making Colin Farrell look like a real person that does not look like him. Colin Farrell is my favorite aspect in this movie. Yeah. Yep. There she is, Zoe Kravitz. Is it me or is Zoe Kravitz fucking gorgeous? Wow. I I like that Penguin calls him Vengeance. Clearly selling drugs. I love that he's doing this right in front of Batman. Takes the money, here's the drugs, do your thing. And there she gives that look. That look tells Batman that she knows that girl, she knows something. We'll remember that for later. Um, so yeah, not only do I like the makeup for Colin Farrell, um, but I love his performance. He might be. I don't want to throw this out there too lightly. He might be my favorite version of Penguin. I love Danny DeVito's Penguin, but that's more of nostalgic. I grew up on it, and it's fucking creepy and disgusting, right? And I loved Robin Lord Taylor, right, from Gotham. I really liked him as Penguin, but something about his Penguin here. She's one hot chick. But it's just there's an arrogance to him. There's a cockiness to him. The whole idea that he runs this club, but you know he's really doing nefarious, dirty shit. Um, I cannot wait to see where he goes next, whether it's the Batman sequels or if we only see him in his show. If that's that's I can't wait. I am here for it. I am here to watch a Penguin arc. Whether it's a prequel to see how he got here, or if it's post this movie and we see him maybe try to take the spot that Carmine Falcone had. And I'm calling him Falcone. I have notoriously said that I do not like changing Falcone's name to Falcone. But in the context of this movie, you'll probably hear me say Falcone. I'd rather call him Falcone, but that's just me. Whatever. All right, what do you guys think? Selina keeps calling Annika baby. Do you think Annika is her girlfriend, like romantic, or is baby just something she's calling her friend? I'm gonna say that they're in lesbians with each other, just because that's the hottest scenario we can go with. I was almost waiting for like a kiss here, just to confirm it, not because of any sick fantasy I have, right? But just to be like, oh no, that like definitively this Selina Kyle is bi. Um, but I know Zoe Kravitz said in an interview that she at least played it as she was bi. She played the role like she was bi. Yes, Scott Pilgrim reference. I'm glad you got that. I am in lesbians with you. Anyone else think that Bruce Wayne looks a little pervy right now watching her get undressed? I'm not saying I blame him. I'd probably keep watching too. But he's clearly watching for research purposes. He's not. No other reason here. I love the score. Michael Giacchino's Catwoman score is great. It reminds me a little bit of the Michelle Pfeiffer theme from Batman Returns. It just has that little Elfman flair. It might be just the goth tone. And I love how she's just like, all right, off to work. Out the window, out the fire escape, and off I go. I feel like that moment when Bruce sees her go out the window like that. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would venture to guess that he would think, "Shit, that's my soulmate. That's my soulmate right there." You know what I mean? Like she's the female version of me. She just dressed up in her suit, goes out in the middle of the night, and boom. Catwoman is absolutely Batman's soulmate. I'm not saying that they'll have the most healthy relationship, but they definitely, I think Catwoman is the most likely to understand Bruce and his need for being Batman, his need for going out there, his inability to give up being Batman. You know, even at the end of the movie when she says "Come with me," and he looks up at the symbol, she doesn't get mad at him. She doesn't argue with him. She just says, "You're spoken for." That's it. She doesn't even try to win him over. She's just like, "All right, that's it. Fucking here we go." Is the only time these two fight each other in the movie. And when I say fight, I mean she's fighting him and he's just blocking everything. He doesn't punch her like fucking Michael Keaton does, right? How could you? I'm a woman. I love the atmosphere too. I love the fact that this Gotham rains all the time. I agree, absolutely. It's a passport. Kozlov. All right, so she's Russian. I like that his first instinct was that she killed the mayor. Um, it's also very interesting that this Selena, it's never really established if she's a cat burglar. I mean, she obviously dresses similar enough to being a cat. She's never called Catwoman in the movie, but at the end of the movie, she calls herself Cat. Um, and there is one scene where she steals that bag of money, but she's only stealing the bag of money because it's a fuck you to Falcone. She has a personal issue with him. So it's not established that this Catwoman is a cat burglar that goes around and regularly steals shit, jewelry and whatnot. But you know, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. Uh, she too is very early in her career to where the next time we see her, she could have fully gone over to being a cat burglar, right? Like she could eventually get to a point where she's like, fuck it. Fuck everybody else. I'm gonna look after me. You know, maybe the third Batman movie, she comes back. There she goes, baby. All right, here we have a final notice. Is that for her rent? What bill is that? They took her phone. You're excited to see what about his chest symbol? What was that? Oh, let me see if I can see that again. Uh, oh yeah, it's used for cutting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like the moments when he takes it off and he just cuts the police tape or whatever. He cuts the wire later. Where's the BVS live stream watch? I have not done a BVS live watch. I figure eventually at some point I was going to do the DCEU live watch, right? Like go through Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad, um, Justice League. We'll go through all Wonder Woman. I feel like eventually we'll get there. Goodbye. So the commissioner's dead. There's your there's your moment that reminds me a little bit of the Joker in Dark Knight when Joker has the fake Batman. The rat trap is creepy and scary. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. The fact that he basically is saying that those rats are going to eat the guy's face off, that's fucking brutal. That is a saw trap for your ass. This Riddler is very much like Jigsaw, which again reminds me of the Telltale Batman games, the second one, when Riddler shows up and he puts people in traps and he's sick and twisted and violent. By the way, I love that Zoe Kravitz has the short black hair look. It's kind of a more recent Selena Kyle look in the comics, and we've never seen that in a movie yet until now. You got a lot of cats. I like how she says, I have a thing about strays, and then she kind of looks him up and down, and then he looks her up and down. It's like they totally want to fuck. I do like her sense of independence. I can take care of myself. She's not looking for a handout. You haven't played Enemy Within yet? Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. I love how much of a crime story it is. You can tell that the movie is a crime story when you're constantly in the morgue pulling back a body bag. What do you think of Robert Pattinson being a thin Batman? Um, to be honest, I never needed Batman to be the size that Ben Affleck was. It was very cool to get a Batman that was Ben Affleck's size, right? As tall as he was, as fucking big as he was. There was something definitely cool about Ben Affleck's size, but to be honest, Michael Keaton was never all that big. Even Val Kilmer was taller, but he wasn't fucking jacked. He was still relatively just in shape. I don't need Robert Pattinson to be jacked. I don't need a Batman to be jacked as long as he's not fat. As long as Batman, as long as Bruce Wayne looks like he's in shape and he's wearing a fucking armored suit. So I think the suit is really what does the work. You can almost argue, why does Batman need to be that big if he's going to be walking around in an armored suit? Right? So it just depends. It depends. It depends on what Batman you like the most. I'm completely fine with Pattinson's physique. I don't think twice about it. I don't think twice about it at all. Christian Bale was in great shape, but he wasn't. He was big, Christian Bale, but he wasn't like, I don't know. He wasn't a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? Christian Bale was probably at his biggest in Batman Begins. Batman Begins was the biggest Christian Bale was as Batman. Dark Knight and especially Dark Knight Rises, he was not as big. Not pudgy like Christopher Reeve in Superman 4. I love Riddler leaving these riddles for Batman. I love it. I love it. And maybe I'm dumb. I saw a lot of people who were like, "Oh wow, these riddles were so fucking easy to solve." And hell, maybe they are very easy riddles. I must not be a riddle person because um I think the He Lies Still one I knew, but I don't know. I don't know if I figured them out that quick. She's she's putting in the context. I love that she calls him out and says, "Why do I feel like I'm being used as bait right now?" Um, I like her attitude. I like Zoe Kravitz's attitude as far as, yeah, I'll help you, but it's only because I want to find my friend. I like that when she's in the club, she is like, "No, I'm looking for my friend. I'm fucking done with this." She takes shit out of her. Because yeah, obviously, oh, it looks like he's gonna kiss her, and he goes, "It looks good." You love her red wig. I think she looks great in any wig or any hairstyle, or Zoe Kravitz with any hair looks great. I definitely this is the hardest I probably fell for Zoe Kravitz. Although Zoe Kravitz in Dope, I think I fell in love with her there too. The braids, the long cornrows that she has, that was pretty hot too. But yes, I agree. The red wig, the wig she had earlier, her with her short hair, the pink hair that she has later on in the movie. I am a Zoe Kravitz fan for sure. And she's rocking that black leather dress very well as well. She was hot in X Men First Class too. That's true. I almost forget that she's in X Men First Class. Um, yeah, she played a female angel. She had the little fucking bug wings. Do you have the Batman anime series? Anime or the animated series? I definitely have the animated series on Blu-ray. Yes, I originally had it on. Well, I originally had them on VHS. At least certain episodes. They used to release. Peter Sarsgaard is good in this. The short time he was in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did actually like Peter Sarsgaard in this as the corrupted DA. But yeah, yeah, all these guys fucking checking her out. I mean, I can't blame them, but at the same time, they're all pieces of shit. So extra layer of creep. But hey, if she was walking by me, I'd take a double take as well. Who am I kidding? There he is. But yeah, so I had certain episodes of Batman the Animated Series on VHS growing up. And then I bought the complete collection on DVD. And then when they re-released them on Blu-ray, what, 2 years ago or whenever it was, I bought the Blu-ray set. Yes. I love how she's like, if I look over at him again, it's gonna become a whole thing. And of course, he came over. You have No Way Home on Blu-ray. Me too. Me too, Jenna. Me too. So everyone at this table is in the DA office. That's crazy. Carla? a drop. I like how they're all just fucking taking drugs. No big deal. He's wasted. I like how she said no shit to Batman, and it worked perfectly with what he just said. The rat. Hey, if Zoe Kravitz touches my leg and asks me about a rat, I will make up a rat for her to keep her hand there. Let me tell you. Remember Peter Sarsgaard as the villain in Green Lantern? Fuck, do I remember? Yeah, he was that big fucking. Well, he turned into a glob or a blob, dude. Glob. Yeah, he his head got all big, and yeah, I remember that shit. Is this girl here the one? She's the one that ends up with Falcone later on, right? See, I like this. Even though Batman's like, no, stay with him. She's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm looking for my friend. Here he is. There's Penguin, and there's Falcone. I could not believe how good John Turturro was as Carmine Falcone. Because John Turturro, I know he's done serious roles in the past, but I feel like I got to know him so much more from all those Adam Sandler comedy movies that he and the Transformers movies, right? He's played so goofy in a lot of those movies that it was crazy how easily I bought him in this creepy, dark, intimidating role. You know, that goes to show you how good of an actor he is. I'm sure there's other people who are like, yeah, he's been in fucking all these 10 things where he's serious. But again, first thing I think of when I think of him is the goofier stuff. And there she goes. She takes the contacts out. Again, I don't blame her. Like, I know it's frustrating because you're like, you're with Batman. Like, no, we need to figure this out. But the movie does a good job of making Selina not look selfish, or this is probably the most sympathetic Selina has been in a movie, right? Michelle Pfeiffer was sympathetic in a way. You felt bad for her, but she definitely was crazy and just and was evil at points. And Anne Hathaway was very selfish and turned on Batman so many fucking times that you see a lot of people who say, why would he ever trust her? This Lena, I think, is the most sympathetic Selina we've seen. She what? What about her contacts? Well, she definitely keeps the contacts because later on she talks to Batman with the contacts in her apartment. She gets in contact with him. This scene's very creepy. Riddler in the backseat just waiting for him. If she didn't turn down the ride home, she probably would have been lumped in with him, right? Bam, bam, bam. I don't know. Something about somebody waiting for you in your house or in your car or whatever, and you know, and then the way how this is shot, where it's blurry, so you can only vaguely see what he's doing to him, like what this device is. It's creepy, man. It's creepy. And Paul Dano. I wonder how much of these scenes it's really Paul Dano in the mask. I mean, it very well might be all of them. Uh, but it's kind of crazy that we don't see Paul Dano's face until the very, very end of the movie. So how much of this, probably a lot, if not all, but how many of these scenes where it's just Riddler in the mask, is it really Paul Dano just fucking looking crazy as shit? I love that Gordon and Batman have this like secret spot where they meet up and kind of go over their plans or go over whatever's going on. I love it. I just love it. It's very different than having the symbol on top of the police station. Although the sequel he might have it there, just because where Batman ends off in this movie, it seems like the public might be more open to Batman as a symbol, as a hero, as a good guy. So maybe then it'll be at the police station. But right now, it's actually perfect. It's literally the two of them versus the world, it feels like, right? Because you're not corrupt. I love that Batman now realizes Riddler's game. He's not going after good cops. And it's crazy because when you think about Riddler and his whole game, the first half of this movie, you could argue that Riddler's actually, it's a stretch to say the good guy, but Riddler is doing, like, yeah, he's killing people. You can debate whether that's the right thing to do or not. You know, obviously, Batman's against killing. I don't have a relationship with him. Yeah, that really pissed her off when he said you had a relationship with Falcone. Obviously, we know why that pissed her off because it's her father. Uh, so that really got under her skin. I love that Alfred mentions that, oh, she's pretty. He's kind of hoping that, like, hey, is this going to be a girlfriend for you? Can you stop being Batman, maybe? Even Michael Caine had that whole, like, he wants Batman to stop. He wants Bruce Wayne to stop being Batman, to meet somebody, to settle down. It's always kind of in the background of Alfred's. We know that Michael Goff was all about trying to get Bruce Wayne to fall in love, right? Vicky Vale, let's bring her to the Batcave. Selena Kyle, he was very much trying to push Bruce into being with somebody. Giving him his cufflings, I like that. I like how much Bruce is not a I'm gonna go out in public and do shit. That he was just gonna go out not wearing cufflings, not going to present himself in a way that fits the Wayne name. Um, it's interesting to have a Bruce Wayne that's more about being Batman than anything else. I think probably come the sequel, that's when we'll start to see Robert Pattinson be more the playboy in public, be more of like, hey, I'm a billionaire and I'm flaunting and I'm the fake persona thing. He'll probably develop that in the sequel. So it's interesting to have at least one movie where he's more Batman than anything else, you know? This is the most his true self that we see throughout the entire movie. There's um there's Oswald, there's Falcone, and here is a girl in leather boots. Um, I'm thinking of getting Batman Alchemy. Fun fact: they actually shot this scene with Zoe Kravitz in this role, So those hands that you saw were actually Zoe Kravitz's hands, and that's actually Zoe Kravitz, the back of her. It's not until she turns around that it's the other actress, but they shot that with Zoe Kravitz to make it more believable that it's her. But yeah, that's definitely the girl at the club that Zoe Kravitz was trying to question about the Russian girl. Oh, what do you think of the Batmobile in this movie? I very much like the Batmobile. I like it a lot. Um, like, yeah, it's a muscle car. Like it looks like a more traditional car than maybe most other Batmobiles do, but I love the back engine of it, how it's pronounced and how the blue fire comes out of it. I love that. I love how loud the engine is and um how fast it is. I think it's a very different Batmobile, but I like it. Um, could we get to a sequel where maybe it looks more stylized or it looks more like a Batmobile? Maybe, right? Maybe he evolves between the suits, between the Batmobiles, between everything. Possible. Don't try to sneak in. Nice try. I kind of like, the good thing about not showing Paul Dano in the promotional stuff, not in the trailers, not in the posters, is that if people didn't know who Paul Dano was, or that Paul Dano was cast as the Riddler, you could watch this movie and it could be a mystery on who the Riddler is. I think the actual point is that we don't know who the Riddler looks like or the person behind the mask. The point is that he's just a regular guy. It could be anybody. It could be that guy that was just right next to Bruce. It could be the guy who was trying to sneak in. It makes you wonder who is building what Batman uses and drives. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't get a sense of a Lucius Fox here. Not that a Lucius Fox can't exist, but it doesn't look like he has a Lucius Fox, at least at this point. Um, you know, but see, that's the thing. That's almost why it makes sense that the Batmobile isn't that stylized or that like it looks like a regular car with just a beefed up engine. Because maybe that is something that him and Alfred did themselves. I love that the officer that was a dick to Batman earlier is, hey, Mr. Wayne. And then this moment is just hearing the chaos going on outside, us not seeing it at all, and you're just waiting for when the car eventually comes in. This tension is built up very well. And then he looks up, and the one guy that doesn't move, that's Edward Nashton. I almost said Nigma. I love that the first thing Bruce does is he grabs that kid out of the way. Yep, that's definitely him. You see the glasses. There goes Paul Dano. Because it works. Because like some people might think that they're playing up Riddler's identity as it's supposed to be a big twist reveal of who he is, but no. The point is that he's just a dude. He's just a guy. Who he is isn't as important as the fact that he's anonymous. Right? Like even the part where he has different IDs, and it's like, well, which name does he really have? I love it that Riddler's name is Edward Nashton, different from Edward Nigma. Yeah, I mean, I've grown up with the Edward Nigma thing, so I'm used to calling him Edward Nigma. But in this world, in this more gritty, darker tone, it makes sense that they would change his last name. It does. It makes sense. To the Batman. I never get sick of those to the Batman cards, especially the way how they're written. It's almost like a child wrote it, right? The font of the writing. How many hours have gone by where poor Peter Sarsgaard is just sitting there with a bum around his neck and that phone continuously ringing? I say poor. I mean, he's corrupt. Um, I think he even mentions that he has a family. So does that mean he has a wife and kids? But yet he was hitting on Selena Kyle that whole time that night. So uh, that robot going up to him is haunt. Yeah, well, it's a reminder of how dangerous the situation is. You know, nobody's willing to get that close to him except for Batman. Batman's the only person who's like, I'm gonna go right up to him and fucking figure this shit out. Do we do we know if this sergeant with the really raspy voice, do we know if that guy's corrupt or not? Is he a part of the whole corruption in Gotham, or is he just a dick to Batman because he doesn't trust him? Peter Sarsgaard does a great job having a terrified voice, terrified like I buy that he's scared right now. But it's very interesting that as scared as he is, he's he was not willing to give up the rat's name, right? As scared as he is here, as much as he doesn't want to die, he'd rather let himself die than to expose Falcone's name and put his family in danger. It's a complex character for somebody that's corrupted and gets killed off here. What do I think of the Batwing suit? Um, the Batwing suit. Are you talking about the scene later when he jumps off the roof? I thought it is brought up that the commissioner is corrupt. Well, yeah, the commissioner is corrupted. The commissioner who got his face eaten by the rats. But I'm talking about the sergeant. The sergeant that's outside in the one with the uniform, with the mustache, him next to Gordon. Is that guy corrupt? Or is he just being a dick to Batman because, whatever. Are you talking about the suit that Batman uses when he go jumps off the roof? This Riddler is like Jigsaw. He is. He is. Kind of cool because I always thought that Jigsaw, the idea of a Jigsaw, would be a perfect kind of villain for Batman. Somebody who is on that level, and we kind of got it. We under the guise of Riddler, the wingsuit. I mean, I thought it was fine. the the practicality of it's cool. Him using it to glide away. It kind of sucks that he just crashes into the fucking thing and looks like he almost kills himself. This is definitely a Jigsaw like scene, right? 2 minutes, three riddles, give me the answers, or you die. And then he doesn't even wait for him to say, "Are you ready?" He just fucking starts the timer. Like that's a Jigsaw thing to do right there. Live or die. Make your choice. One of these days we gotta do a Saw live watch. Isn't his cape supposed to be a glider? Um, it depends. I mean, in this movie, we don't see him use his cape as a glider. The Dark Knight, that Batman used his cape as a glider, and Keaton used his cape as a glider. This Batman, we don't see him use his cape as a glider. So this Batman, his cape seems like it turns his whole suit into a glider, right? I guess. I love that Batman's giving him the answers, but also because Batman wants to know the answers too, right? Like how much was the bribe? Who's the rat? It shows how similar Riddler and Batman's goals are, but just Riddler is on the opposite side of what he'll do to get the answers. I mean, I guess it's not confirmed that he has a wife and kids. I just put that in there. He just says he has family. So, bam! So, did the DA, did his whole body just explode? I mean, we're not going to see it as far as what the remnants of his body looks, but or did his head explode, right? I wonder. You know, I saw some people debate that Batman's chin should be burnt to crisp right now. Who gives a fuck? Come on. If we're gonna complain that Batman's chin should be burnt right now, I, but I do like the fact that he is mortal. He can get hurt. He got a possible mild concussion. I love that Batman loses his shit when somebody mentioned I'm gonna take his mask off. I love that Batman does not back down from. He's in a room full of fucking 30 cops and he's just like, fuck you, you're probably corrupt. No fear, Batman. And this fucking guy touches his fucking head. He said, "You want me? You got me assaulting 3." He's about to fucking hit him. And I like that Batman first reacts to Gordon like he's upset that Gordon's turning on him. But then I love the reveal that Gordon is actually like this is all for show and he's Gordon's still with him. If you didn't already love Gordon before this scene makes you really love Gordon. When Gordon goes close to him and starts whispering, "We gotta get you out of here." I just love it. Jeffrey Wright's fucking awesome. And the whole like hitting his chest. Well, you punch me in the face. We make it look real. Take this key. I love it. Gary Oldman is still my favorite Gordon just because Gary Oldman played him in 3 movies. Gary Oldman looks the most like the traditional comic book Gordon, of course, right? You know, he just looked perfect. But Jeffrey Wright, if we get a trilogy out of this, and if Jeffrey Wright gets some good shit to do in the sequels, Jeffrey Wright might give Oldman a run for his money. We shall see. I like that. Bam! The punch looked believable. The punch did look believable. And Batman is running his ass off. Batman knows that these are a lot of fucking cops. Let's get the fuck out of here. I love this shot of him grappling up to the roof. That's a lot of fucking cops. And here's an interesting moment. Batman looks like he's afraid of heights here for a second. Here we go. So Batman uses his cape to turn his whole suit into like a skydiving suit here. So this is interesting. This is definitely different. I mean, I think the purpose of it is that it's so much faster. It's a much faster way to glide down. Um, you could argue though that because he crashes and burns, that maybe he figures out a different way to glide. Maybe he does use a cape that is easier to control. Um, you you could have at least pulled that punch. I did. I love that. That was him pulling his punch. I love that. Even him pulling his punch, he punches like a fucking bull. Wait, do bulls punch? All right, so here's the part where Gordon and Batman think that Penguin is the rat. This sequence coming up here is one of my favorite moments in the movie. I also love the idea of Batman and Gordon, you know, performing their own stakeout and following Penguin. That's just very cool to me, you know? Their own they're performing their own operation. Um I think earlier Batman asked if Gordon trusts those cops, and Gordon said, "No, I only trust you." I love that. I love that. Gordon admit that all those fucking cops, like, I don't fucking know who to trust anymore. There is the drugs. They call them drops, right? So does that mean you drop them in your eyes or something, or I don't know. I'm very naive to drugs, I guess. Um, You love that Penguin is in a purple car. I did not even notice he was in a purple car. Either I'm that colorblind or it's too damn dark. I don't know how you caught that, but that's cool. There she is, Miss Kyle. So that's what that feels like. The Dark Knight Rises reference. Yep. Oh, and there goes. She easily just took them out. That's a lot of money. It's weird how much her ski mask works, right? Like, it shouldn't work. It should not work because the idea of it. Oh, there's Annika's dead body, and then she barely has time to react to it because now they're immediately being shot at. The car on the left is purple. The car on the left, like, it's so dark. I mean, is it purple? I guess. I guess it is. I definitely believe you. I just maybe there's so much going on I don't even notice the car. Hey, vengeance! I love that he calls him vengeance. He's gone. Oh, I love the sound of the engine. Like how loud it is, how it looks in the dark. Oh, this is so good. Was Zsasz in Gotham? Victor Zsasz? Yeah. Victor Zsasz was very much in Gotham. Look how cool that looks. The blue fire, the blue light behind him. I love it. I love that Penguin just kind of freaks out and takes off. Oh, you're playing the Victor Zsasz side mission? Nice. I like Victor Zsasz in the Arkham games for sure. Oh, and Selena gets at least one bag of money. All right, cool. Good for her. Is that theme? Da 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 da. The orange grill in the front? Yes. Yeah, I'm very happy with this Batmobile. I'm not saying it's my favorite Batmobile, right? I'm not saying, you know, I like it for this world. I love this Batman theme though. What is my most prize of Funko Pop? Like my favorite Funko Pop? I don't know. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. That's a good question. Uh, it's hard to pick a favorite when it comes to the Funko Pops. I still need to do a Funko Pop video, actually. Maybe then, if I do a video and if I go through each and every one of them, uh, I like them all differently. You have the Red Rain Batman Funko Pop. Nice. I very much like this car chase. Would you drive this Batmobile every day? Fuck yeah, man. That's the thing. Like, as much as I love the 89 Batmobile, as much as I love the Tumbler, as much as I have a nostalgicness for the Batman Forever Batmobile, a lot of those are not practical to drive in real life. Where at least this Batmobile, you can conceivably drive this in real life, and it'll stick out, but it won't be so glaring on the road, right? Okay, now I can see that it's purple. I can see it now. Yeah. Is it raining in almost every scene? Like every night scene in Gotham, it's like always raining, right? I love how frantic and scared Penguin looks. And I love Pattinson's like no emotion, tunnel vision face that he has. I would drive the Batman Arkham Knight Batmobile every day. Oh no! Yes, I feel like every night scene in this movie it rains, and I'm here for it. There it is. Boom! Explosions! I got you. There. How fucking awesome was that in the trailer when we saw this? Yes. Yep, he uses the this shot of us seeing the car flip over. Holy fuck. That's practical, folks. That's a real car flipping over 20 goddamn times. Thank God Oswald had a seatbelt on, right? What if he didn't have a seatbelt? Batman would have killed him. I love this shot. This shot of him walking with the fire behind him. Holy fuck, in the rain. God damn, this is a comic book panel come to life. The boots, the footprints. Penguin looking terrified as fuck. Batman walking slow and intimidating. Absolutely. I feel like this movie is where Batman builds their reputation, right? Because you see these criminals. Some criminals don't really know him. Like the beginning, those criminals were afraid of him, but like the gang, you know, they now fear him after their interaction. Penguin is probably going to be a lot more scared of Batman after like this, right? Very interesting to have this scene where Penguin actually kind of points out to both Batman and Gordon's face that like they're wrong or that they're going about this wrong. It doesn't look like it's raining as much in this scene. It doesn't, huh? What are you showing me? Ah, come on. I love. Although you do see in the car lights, you do see that it's still raining. El Rada Lada. Colin Farrell's so good. Was this Riddler stupid or something? URL. URL. Ain't that about a bitch? Because who would fucking figure? Who would think that in your first guess? URL. Question mark? Did you find him? Al Rada Al Lada? Yes. Maybe. Is a penguin a rat with wings? That is a real website. Yeah, I haven't gone to the website myself, but I heard that people were going to the website and trying to, I guess, solve riddles on there. I don't know. Maybe I should go on this website and check it out. Interesting. You're missing the big picture. His next victim. Dead? He will be soon. Here's a clue to where you can find him. I grew up from a seed. I love that Riddler can't help himself. He talks in riddles. He can't just come out and say what he's thinking or feeling, right? Funny enough, the fictional Jeep. And I love that they leave Penguin there. I mean, if we're being honest, they're lucky that they don't arrest Penguin because they saw that he was dealing drugs. They like he was, at that warehouse with those drugs, with that money, but he's the little fish right now. He's not. Yeah, I love that. Batman, no guns. Gordon, yeah, man, that's your thing. He's like, I'm a fucking cop. I use a gun. Sorry. I do like that this Batman, um, very much inspired by the Christian Bale. I have one rule: I do not kill. No guns. That's my favorite version of Batman. I know some people. You want to talk about a horror score? That's it right there, man. Holy shit. Um, but the whole I have one rule: I do not kill. No guns. That's. I know some people prefer Michael Keaton's Batman, who did kill, or people say Ben Affleck is their favorite Batman and he killed. And I guess to each their own. My Batman, though, I'd rather a Batman that did not kill, um, that did not want to kill, that does not have guns on his fucking Batmobile, does not have guns on his Batwing. I'd rather that, right? But when I first saw this movie, I definitely was like, holy shit. This is another thing that's kind of from the Batman Telltale games. The idea that Thomas Wayne was corrupted, or the idea that Thomas Wayne was in cahoots with criminals. This is when we learn that Bruce Wayne is the next target. Yep. Sins of the father, all this stuff. Now, granted, we eventually find out that Thomas Wayne was not corrupted. He just made a mistake. He made a mistake going to Falcone. He did not realize that Falcone was going to kill the reporter, which is cool. But I was impressed with them even introducing the idea that Thomas Wayne was corrupted or could have been corrupted. And this sequence fucked me up the first time I saw it. I thought they were killing Alfred. I said to myself, "Holy shit, they are killing Alfred right now." And man, I mean, if they did kill Alfred, that would have fucked me up, man. I'm obviously glad that wasn't the case, but boy, did they get me. You know, very clever editing. The reveal that the explosion already happened, the reveal of the building with the smoke coming out of it, the reveal of the woman answering the phone and saying it already happened an hour ago. I was like, oh no. Oh yeah, you're right. Batman disappeared on Gordon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm afraid it already has, sir. And then they show the smoke, and I'm like, oh, I bought it. I admit, I bought it. I thought they killed him. Fuck. Damn. I mean, what would you guys think if they did kill Gordon? Like, would this movie become a fuck you? Right? Would this anger you too much if they killed, not Gordon? Sorry, if they killed Alfred. It was interesting that Bruce Wayne lived in a tower with bat ears on it in the middle of the city. Does the building have bat ears? Did I miss that? Holy shit! How does nobody know that he's Batman? The moment when Bruce Wayne says Alfred does not have anyone else but him. Um, I wonder if, like, I mean, Bruce Wayne says to him later, Bruce Wayne is lucky that the bomb did not kill Alfred. Yeah, he is lucky. He is lucky. I think Bruce later on tells Alfred that that's the moment where he realized how much Alfred meant to him, right? He's been pretty cold to Alfred. He hasn't been that loving to Alfred, really. And I think it's when Alfred almost died that Bruce realized he does not want to lose Alfred, or he can't afford to lose another loved one. I like the moment when Bruce says that to Alfred later on. Is it me, or does Bruce look a little emo in this movie? It's not you. He definitely does look emo. You know, between the hair kind of coming over his face, between him mostly keeping the black circles over his eyes. Yeah, definitely. But I think he's going to have. I think the second movie, he'll be less emo. You know, him learning to become more of a hero as opposed to vengeance. Him probably being more philanthropic in the public. I assume that's where it's going. I think we'll get less emo Bruce as the sequels go on. This Bruce is in too much of a dark place right now, though. Here we go. So I guess this is this the contact that she's talking to him through? And this is the moment where he trusts her to go to the secret spot, right? This is the secret spot that him and Gordon go to. He just told Selina to go there. Selina. And this is very interesting how much Batman did not trust Selina. He's very accusatory of her here. He very much thinks that, like, man, she was playing him. She was she was all out to get that money, you know. He thinks that she is more connected to Falcone than she's admitting. I love that she says you obviously grew up rich. The sunset in this movie, yeah, this sunset lighting is probably the best cinematography shot in the film. Now that was a bombshell. Because he's my father, I was like, what? That blew my mind in the theater. I was not expecting them to go there. And this might be the most backstory we've ever gotten on Selina Kyle in a movie, right? The whole idea that her mother worked at the club. Um, Falcone obviously got her mother pregnant. Falcone killed her mother, and she's been struggling ever since, you know? That's. And the fact that Falcone doesn't even know that she's his daughter. Like, those scenes where he's calling her beautiful and he's touching her face and he's talking to her, don't be a stranger. He's definitely hitting on her, not realizing she's his fucking daughter. It's sick. And you know what? She's right. She is owed that money. And I do not blame her for wanting to kill him later. I'm not saying she should have killed him, but I do not blame her for wanting him dead. And I like this moment of Batman realizing he was wrong about her. Him assuming the worst in people makes sense in Gotham. that we still have an over an hour. It doesn't feel like yeah. This movie flies by for a 3 hour movie. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. At least I clearly am invested in these characters. I am invested in the story. I am invested in this Riddler. I'm invested in the crime element. I love this is this is what I wanted, at least the crime element, the crime aspects of the story. The stuff with Falcone and Maroni and Penguin, all of that stuff. The Iceberg Lounge and how much of the cops are corrupt. That's what I wanted the show Gotham to be. I wanted Gotham to be more about the crime aspect. Even if it meant Gotham not having Batman, Gordon more the main character, you could have had a Gotham show that was more about the criminal um, that never touched on the Rogues Gallery, that didn't have Joker, didn't have Ra's al Ghul and fucking Bane and all those characters they put on Gotham, Poison Ivy, all that bullshit that was not needed. Gotham could have just been Falcone, Maroni, Penguin, Gordon as the main character. That would have fucking been great. You know what I mean? All you had to do was just have good writers behind it. But they got lazy. Then they said, let's bring in Mr. Freeze. Let's bring in. I like that when Bruce Wayne takes his mask off, he still has the dark makeup on his eyes. It's, you know. I remember how big of a deal it was in Kick Ass when we actually saw Nick Cage in front of the mirror putting the black makeup around his eyes. I remember how much that kind of blew my mind because Edward Elliot, is this guy Thomas Elliot's father? Huh? This part fascinated me. Martha Wayne's past, her maiden name being Arkham, her mother killing her father and killing herself, Martha being in a mental institution, her last name Arkham, and that's where Arkham Asylum comes from. All of this was fascinating. Hush. There's your Hush reference. Now I'm not saying that they're teasing Hush coming in for a sequel. For all we know, that Hush was really just an Easter egg. And honestly, this Riddler seems like a combination of Riddler, Hush, and Jigsaw, right? Um, I would imagine that a lot of this, there's a lot of Hush characteristics that they kind of just spliced into Riddler. I could very well expect us to never get Hush in a sequel, which is whatever. It's fine. I mean, I'd like to see it, but at the same time, I get it. I like that he shows up as Bruce Wayne. It kind of goes to show you where Bruce Wayne's head's at. He's so confused. He doesn't know what to think, what to believe about his father. He needs answers. He's not going there, though, as Batman to get the answers. He actually thinks he will get the best answers as himself. Um, it's very interesting to see Batman and Bruce Wayne separately go to the same places and kind of see the similarities and the differences of how Batman and Bruce Wayne interact with the same people. You want Mr. Freeze in the sequel? So do I. So do I. I want a serious Mr. Freeze, not a realistic Mr. Freeze. As realistic and as gritty as this movie is, if we get a Mr. Freeze, I want him to be Mr. Freeze. I want him to be frozen, the whole suit, everything. Um, you know, I I want people to stop bringing up Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze and like as fun and as goofy as that Mr. Freeze is, I don't want that to be what most people think of when they think of Mr. Freeze. I'd like to see Mr. Freeze from the animated series, but in live action. That's a good point. Bruce Wayne does look uncomfortable, or as you say, naked. He does look like he's not comfortable walking around as Bruce Wayne. He doesn't look. He looks more comfortable in the Batman suit. That's a great observation. It just feeds into the whole like we all know that the real Bruce Wayne is Batman. But you're right. I think that's a layer that Robert Pattinson brings to this role that probably isn't talked about enough. Pattinson, you know, it's that subtle he's not comfortable. Even the way how he was talking to the twins outside, right? He didn't look as confident as he was when he was Batman, and he said the same thing. Do you know who I am? But when he's Batman, he's more like I'm gonna fucking do some shit. Bruce Wayne, he seems unsure of what his next moves are. So of course Falcone is lying right now. I mean, he's lying in the sense that he's only telling enough of the truth to where he sounds like he's telling the truth, but he's not telling the whole truth. So, and John Turturro does it very well. He's very convincing. He's very believable. And do we see the actor that's supposed to be Maroni? I don't think we do, right? They talk about how he was the Maroni case. Maroni's locked up. There was a whole big bust. Maybe we see a picture of him in a newspaper, but I don't recognize. It just makes me wonder if we'll ever see like if Maroni will ever come back in a sequel if he gets out of jail or something. If he ends up being an actor that we know, I don't know. Maybe not, or maybe we just never see Maroni ever again, right? I like the idea that Bruce has had his father's room chained and locked up for all these years. He hasn't been in there in God knows how long. How how much this would devastate him to find out that his father was corrupted. It's definitely an interesting idea to play with. You know, the idea that Thomas Wayne was not the Boy Scout, was not the good guy. He maybe he did some shit. You know, the whole source of Bruce's Batman campaign was built off of a lie. Like that's some fucked up shit. That's some dark, twisted shit right there. Alfred sees Bruce Wayne sitting next to him in the hospital bed. Alfred smiles because he's probably happy to see Bruce there for him. But then the first thing Bruce says is, "Fuck you, Alfred. You lied to me." It's like, no! Alfred needs you to be loving to him right now. He almost just died. But I get it. You know, Bruce is going through some fucked up emotional shit right now. And thankfully, Alfred tells him the truth. Tell the truth. Um, and thankfully, we find out through Alfred that Alfred, did not necessarily lie to him as much as he tried to protect him from. And Alfred never fully had proof of what happened to the Waynes, right? He knew, but he didn't know for sure. I will say that I would not have mind if, like, when they showed that Edward Elliot was the reporter and that he was killed, I would not have minded if they said that Edward Nigma was if Edward Elliot was, or Nigma, I'm saying Nigma, Edward Nashton, if Riddler was Elliot's son. So he's not Thomas Elliot or Tommy Elliot, but he is kind of, right? He's the son of an Elliot that ended up becoming the Riddler. Like, so again, combination of Hush and Riddler are kind of molded into one character. I would not have minded that. You know, maybe Edward Elliot being killed is why Riddler became an orphan. That could be interesting, but it's clearly not the case. Riddler, I think, was already in the orphanage way before uh, Elliot was killed and way before Thomas Wayne was killed. You know. I also love that this movie is not an origin movie. That it, obviously we're talking about his parents being killed. We're touching upon certain things, but it is Batman Year Two, so we're kind of past all of the bullshit, and we're filling in blanks to flesh out the origin, but not really talk about the origin. It's a good way to do it. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Andy Serkis doing more roles as himself as opposed to CGI roles. For the longest time, he was only known as, oh yeah, the guy who played Gollum or the guy who played Caesar. But you're right. Now people are getting to know Andy Serkis, his face, his name, how good of an actor he is. That's a great point. Because he's a really good actor and he's a really good, like this scene. This scene's great. I really feel for Alfred in this scene right here. And this is where Bruce Wayne admits to Alfred that I'm not afraid to die, but what I am afraid of is reliving that fear of loss, that fear of losing someone I care about. And Alfred was that person. And Andy Serkis's reaction to that and him putting his hand out to him, like that's such a great. This is clearly the best scene Alfred and Bruce have together. And I can't wait to get more Bruce and Alfred scenes in the future. I can't wait to see them even closer, develop that father son relationship even more. Oh, and there it is. There's the symbol. I love this moment of obviously we assume that it's Gordon, but then we see that no, Gordon's just pulling up. And Gordon's like, "Oh, this isn't you? That wasn't you with the symbol? I thought it was you." Oh, this reveal's great. Of Catwoman beating the shit out of this cop. Oh, Zoe Kravitz is very good in this scene. How frustrated she is, how angry she is, how much she's trying to show Batman that she is right here. And this audio of Falcone killing Annika is very, um, very fucked up. Let's be honest. You do feel bad for this Annika girl. I mean, I'm not saying we knew her that well, but she clearly was a girl who just got caught up in the wrong. And there was a scene earlier, right? where Batman says to Catwoman that, Annika got involved with the wrong people. She made bad choices, and hey, shit happens. And it's interesting to hear Batman have that point of view. Because again, it's him. You kind of see how disconnected he is to who's innocent and who's not. Right? He's still very like fucking angry, and it's not to the end of the movie where he's more like, shit, I need to be more sympathetic to people. I need to. And that scream of her being strangled, oof. Like, it's almost worse that we don't see it and we're just hearing it. So is that why we call him Falcone? Or is that why they call him Falcone instead of Falcone? Is because of the whole Falcon has wings thing? Is that just it's closer? Falcone's closer? Or is it because Falcone sounds too much like Maroni? And so they just call him Falcone to make it less similar? I'm just trying to figure out why did they or Batman Begins calling him Falcone. Was Batman Begins the first one to change it? And was it originally Falcone and Batman Begins made it Falcone? Because I've always said Falcone ever since Batman Begins. I know it's such a little thing that I'm harping on with his name. I also wonder, anytime I see a movie about corrupted politicians, corrupted cops, corrupted officials, I mean, obviously we know that shit happens in real life, but the scale of corruption that is going on in Gotham, that's going on in this movie, that level of corruption makes me wonder, like, how realistic is that, right? I love this. No guns. Cross that line, and you'll become just like him. Batman's right. Ultimately, Batman's right, but I very much understand where Selina is coming from. Which is why I love these two characters together. Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them. Great line. Great fucking line. Oh, I love it. And then she just jumps off the fucking roof. So good. That might be her best line in the movie. That might be her most Catwoman line of the movie. I got 9 of them. Are we happy with Robert Pattinson's Batman voice? That's a question that we haven't talked about yet. Okay, so they changed it to Falcone because it sounds too much like Maroni. I figured that, but I just prefer to say Falcone. Yes, Shadow Bear, you like the voice. Cool. All right, good. I like his voice too. It's not too over the top like people would argue with Bale's, but it's also not, you know, I can't wait because Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne voice is pretty similar. I can't wait to hear what his fake Bruce Wayne voice will be. If we get in the sequels where he's pretending to be this like, hey, I'm a playboy, I can't wait to see how he plays that Bruce Wayne and how different that will be. There's Zoe Kravitz looking fucking like a smoke show again with that fucking pink wig. I like this moment of him sneaking right past the twin and just like, oh, see you later. Got the black around his eyes, the hood. I love this moment. Bam, bam. Quick 1-2 punch. He didn't even look at him to make sure he was knocked out. He knew that those 2 punches would knock that motherfucker out. I love that, man. Boom, boom. Immediately turned around. Immediately knew he got him. So good. And here you have Selina Kyle getting ready to kill Falcone with her gun. It does make you wonder, like, what if she just took the gun out and shot him in the face right here? You know, it's like, shit, well, fuck. I guess we were not able to save her soul the way Batman wanted to. And here we go. This is how we get Falcone, right? I mean, killing him, yeah, you stop him from doing fucked up shit, but he's not really paying for his sins, right? He's dead. Exposing him, putting his crimes out to the public, ruining his reputation. I mean, granted, most people know that he's crooked, but like, there's no denying it. It's out there. You're hearing audio of him killing somebody. You want to talk about being canceled? Falcone just got canceled. There it is. Maria Kyle's kid. He remembers Maria Kyle. I wonder what Maria Kyle looked like. You think Maria Kyle is as hot as Lisa Bonet, Zoe Kravitz's real life mother? You gotta figure Zoe Kravitz's mom, whether it's Maria Kyle or her real life mom, is hot as fuck. So Lisa Bonet still looks pretty good. So I'm sure her mother in this movie is Falcone running away. I love it. I love this moment. Elevator doors open, nobody's there, and then we eventually reveal Batman on the roof, on over them. It's such a cool reveal, similar to the Ben Affleck moment in BVS. You know, one of the cool Batman moments in that movie when he's on the ceiling over the cops, right? And in this moment, the only light in this scene is the light from the bullets. So good. Ah, I love it. He just fucking eats the bullets, man, and then just beats their asses. Ah, so good. So fucking good. There was a very similar scene in Dark Knight Rises where Batman is going through the tunnel or the hallway, and it's a lot faster, but it's the lights of the guns showing him get closer and closer. Very cool. And this is pretty sick. He's not even thinking twice about killing his own daughter. Ugh, fucked up, man. Her scratching his face. Ugh, brutal. Damn. And there's the confirmation that he killed her mother. And I love Batman stopping her from shooting him. I love that line. You don't have to pay with him. You've paid enough. Great line. Great line. That's, you know, it reminds me of the scene in Batman Returns when Batman tries to get Selina, tries to save her, right? He says, hey, we can be together. You don't have to do this. And she says, oh, I'd love to live in your castle in the fairy tale. But she's like, I can't. The idea of Batman trying to save Selina is always the theme between the two of them. And it's very satisfying the few times when he does save her or he does, get through to her, because it doesn't always happen. He ain't talking. That's a line. I love that he calls him Zorro. What are you with Zorro over here? Many people have said Batman was inspired by Zorro, right? Or that Bill Finger and Bob Kane created Batman based off of Zorro. I love this. So, as many cops that were corrupted, I like seeing this many cops who aren't corrupted or who are willing to stand up. It's, you know, I don't really want to get into the whole like police, the image of police and how bad the police look in real life nowadays. Um, how people don't really trust cops anymore and stuff. It is refreshing to get, like there are good police. You know, I have my issues with police, but I like the idea that not every cop is bad, and I think that's this scene shows that. And I love Penguin bucking up to Falcone here. Boom. Now Penguin did not shoot him, but he was going to shoot him. He was going to, right? Penguin was, and Batman watches Falcone die. Fuck him. Bring him into the light. Bring the rat into the light. And you'll find where I'm at. There he is. There he is. It's actually a great hint when Riddler provided all those pictures. It was from that angle. I love that Selina is like, fuck him. Yeah, I didn't do it, but I got what I wanted. He's dead. Uh, but yeah, they hinted that he of where he was from those pictures. All of those pictures that Riddler got of all of those politicians, all of those cops coming out of the club, cheating on their wives, doing all this fucked up shit. He literally watches them every night from his apartment right there. It's great. There's his little area where he the question mark cloth for all of his videos. Police a little slow, aren't they? Look how long Batman was there before they finally got up there. He's been here this whole time. The whole time. The whole time. It's my Sally Field reference from Mrs. Doubtfire. The whole time? It was him the whole time? It is wild that he does podcast videos in his apartment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I find it fascinating that this Riddler is pretty much kind of like a YouTuber, right? He's somebody who records these videos in his apartment. He's gained a little following. He's not super big. He has 500 followers, but it's enough to get his crusade going. It's kind of scary because it's very topical. It's very realistic. And then the reveal of Paul Dano, like he just looks like a dude. he plays it very well because he looks unassuming, but then like these like this look on his face, and then the smile that he gets when he sees Batman because he's obsessed with Batman. Like it's such a subtle performance, and you don't see his face a lot in this movie that it works a lot. Like that smile is creepy, and the scene that they have later on, Patrick Parker and Edward Nashton. It's crazy how late in the movie this happens, but this scene was in the trailer, right? Or one of the trailers. I love the question mark in his latte there. Um, oh yeah, interesting. The mayor's wife and son went to her 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 win. Uh, interesting. Is that the renewal project? 500 henchmen, not followers. Well, when they go to his website, it says he has 500 followers. Like they have the number of people that follow his blogs and shit. This cop. I love that Gordon says he's wearing gloves. Back off. This journal entry is very interesting of Riddler because obviously we know that Batman keeps journal entries of his Batman experiences. It's interesting to hear the moment when Riddler became the Riddler, the moment when he got inspired to do the shit that he does. It's similar in a way. They both were inspired almost by the same event. Bruce Wayne inspired to be Batman by the death of his parents. Riddler inspired to be Riddler by the death of Thomas Wayne, which trajected to the $1 billion that never went to the orphanage and left all those kids alone, and that's what fucked up, because if Thomas Wayne never dies, there's never a Batman and there's never a Riddler because the money goes to the orphanage, the orphans are better taken care of, and there's no Riddler. So Thomas Wayne's death is fucking huge for the downfall of Gotham. I love the reveal of the one bat in a cage full of rats. The first bat in this movie. Well, technically, we saw a bunch of bats in the Batcave earlier, but this is like a full shot, like of the bat, like up close. And he left another card for him. Just for you. My confession. So here's the moment where Bruce or Batman thinks that Riddler knows who he is. And it's very interesting. It's interesting. I think this is the first time that we see Batman. I don't want to say scared, but he's definitely like, oh fuck, like I'm gonna get exposed. This is gonna be the end of everything, right? It's gonna be the end of Batman. Uh, my identity, everything I'm trying to do is about to be. It's a very interesting position to see Batman in. There's young Riddler, who is the Batman. I know the real you. I would argue that Batman is a little nervous here. The Batman. Is that the first time we hear him refer to himself as Batman? Is this the first time? I'm trying to remember now. Did we hear the word Batman earlier in the movie, or am I Here you go. Gordon's looking at him like you think, did he just find out who he is? No. Riddler's asking for him at Arkham. See, Bruce is a little paranoid right now. He thinks it's over. This is the first time he says, so it's the first time he refers to himself as Batman, right? I told you I'd see you in hell. I love Arkham Asylum being referred to as hell. Like it's This is a very good scene for Paul Dano because again, it's the most he gets to physically, facially act and kind of lay out his whole deal. And this moment, Bruce Wayne. It's such a good like fake out. And how defeated Batman looks at the idea that like fuck, he knows. He knows the camera's right there. Everybody's about to know. It's very good acting too from Pattinson, right? Think about it. Pattinson's wearing a mask, but you can see in his eyes that he feels defeated. And Little Miss Sunshine and There Will Be Blood. I keep hearing about him in There Will Be Blood. I've never seen it. First thing I think I noticed Paul Dano in was Looper, and then Prisoners was the big one where I was like, oh shit, Paul Dano. You know, Prisoners, his role is very creepy and weird, and you don't trust him, and then you eventually later on feel bad for him. Prisoners was a very like, oh shit, Paul Dano's somebody to, at least for me. I haven't seen There Will Be Blood. It makes you wonder, like, was Riddler always emotionally screwed up, or was his growing up in that shitty orphanage? Is that what screwed him up? Maybe a combination. Um, you definitely understand his hate for Bruce Wayne when he speaks of. Oh, there you go. The only one we didn't get. That's when Batman's like, oh shit, he doesn't know. Prisoners might be a prime candidate. When Paul Dano got cast as Riddler, Prisoners was the first thing I thought of. I was like, I know he'll be good because of that movie. Yeah, very interesting that it's not until now when Batman goes up to the glass, he was almost he was almost not embarrassed, but he was very weary to get closer to him until he realized that he doesn't know who he is. The whole concept of Riddler thinking that he's working with Batman fascinates me because it's a very different thing. Usually, Riddler is obsessed with proving he's smarter than Batman, or proving Batman wrong, or proving Batman's not intelligent. This Riddler being somebody who's like, no, I'm like, me and Batman are on the same level. We want the same goals. We want the same things. We're alike. That's a twist. That's and his reaction to Batman calling him a psychopath and how angry and unhinged Riddler gets here. I like this performance. I've seen some people say that they think Paul Dano's overacting here. I like it. I think he's great. He's losing his grip, you know. He feels betrayed by Batman. You could argue that if we ever do see Riddler again in a sequel or anything, that like this is the creation of Riddler's hatred for Batman. Starts here. He feels betrayed by Batman. And see, this might be the moment where Riddler realizes that, oh, I'm smarter than Batman, right? When he says, "Oh, you didn't figure it out. I left the clues there. You're not as smart as I thought you were." So let's say, I don't know about the Batman 2, but like maybe the Batman 3. Maybe when we see Riddler again, that Riddler will think, "I'm smarter than you. You can't figure this shit out." And then Batman will have to outsmart him then. And this, his face as he's singing the song, and just he's like, and Batman punching the glass. I like this scene a lot. You know, because it's an interrogation like scene. People compare it to, oh, there's the cutting of the tape. Because it's an interrogation scene, people compare it to the Joker Dark Knight scene for some reason. And obviously, yeah, it's not as good as the Batman beating the shit out of Joker and Joker's laughing. But it's still pretty good. Like, you don't have to compare it. Right? But it's a similar vibe though, as far as Riddler being a step ahead of Batman and Batman being frustrated, and him hitting the window, because if he was right in front of him, Batman would probably start beating the shit out of Riddler right then and there. I love how Batman doesn't even say a word to this cop. He he just, I love when he puts the flashlight up to his face. Like that's how he responds to him. I do like this actor, by the way, the cop. I like how he kind of has his own mini arc. The beginning, you saw him not liking Batman, being a dick to him. Cut all the way now to him being like, all right, we're gonna go along with Batman here. He knows what he's doing. Uh, I hope we see more of this cop. Whether it's a sequel, whether it's one of these TV shows that they're doing. I'm very interested in a. Um, they said they're doing a Penguin show and they're doing an Arkham show. I guess they're not doing the GCPD show anymore, but I kind of still hope they do it. Or if they combine the Arkham show with whatever the GCPD show would have been, because I like the idea of following a cop in the corruption that is Gotham, the corruption that is the police department, but following like the one good cop, or Gordon and whoever, following them. I love this. Hey guys, like you're hearing Riddler's real voice. Hey guys, thanks for the comments. Like he's not using his voice modulated deep voice. He's he looks like a streamer. He looks like what I'm doing right now. I'm just fucking talking to people online. It's sick. This is scary that we learn. Yeah, this is a great reveal. Especially because of how realistic it is. I have gone down the rabbit hole of going through YouTube videos, and there's a couple of like YouTubers who would record videos, and eventually they went out and like fucking killed people. And you can see in their YouTube videos them kind of slowly descend and get angrier. Or this one YouTuber who like was basically saying in his videos, I'm going to do a mass shooting at his job. Like this reminds me of that. Boom, there it is. First time I saw this, I thought, oh shit, like, is this happening in real time? Or, right? Like, this makes it look like Riddler's fucking winning or has already won. Him in his jail cell triumphantly reacting to the explosions is sick as fuck. Seeing the streets be flooded is like, fuck, man. I mean, how many people have died, right? How many people are dying right now? What website? Shit, I don't know. It looks like it doesn't look like a YouTube thing, right? It looks like it's like a dark web site or something, And then all these comments. What gauge rifles, like all these people who are completely for it. That's scary. And the fact that they're all dressed up like him, they're all completely for the cause. And when you're like right now, you're only seeing 2 of them, but eventually you're going to see like 10, 12 of them. Look at it. Like, how many is that? Like 15 of them? Shit, Jesus Christ. That's a lot of them. That's a lot. That's an army. And it's interesting because usually in these movies or these Batman villains, you always see that it seems easy for them to get henchmen, but this kind of shows you the psychology of how he got these henchmen, how he used the truth of corruption in Gotham to turn these people, or at least bring out the evil in these people to go out and do this shit that they're about to do. I love that Gotham has their own Gotham Square Garden, like Madison Square Garden. If you needed more proof that Gotham is pretty much just New York City, Gotham Square Garden right there. Boom. Oh yeah, that's true. Second time Batman disappears. He disappeared on Gordon earlier, and he just disappeared. I love that as many times as Batman has been reinterpreted or rebooted, um, there are certain things about Batman that stays constant, and him disappearing on people is always a thing. It's some of his best characteristics. Somebody turning around and Batman's gone is one of my favorite things about Batman. I admire this woman's, um, I want to be the face of protecting Gotham and giving the people hope. I admire that about her, but she clearly fucked up here. She clearly did the wrong thing she left herself open and vulnerable to being shot. And she's lucky that whoever shot her did not get her in the face. Um, and yeah, the idea of these people just fucking going after her like that is very scary. I love this moment. Boom, the explosion, the Batman just shows up through the glass. That's a great moment right there. And there you go. There's the score. There's the theme. Bam, 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 bam. That never gets old. I can hear that so often. And I love that it's not so much that these henchmen can outfight Batman. It's more about the sheer number of them. Right? That there's so many of them here. There's 15, 20 of them that he has to go through. And that they all have pretty powerful guns here. It hasn't happened yet, but there's going to be a point where one of them has a shotgun that just blows Batman away. Oh, they shot themselves. Oh, and then there you go. Oh no. Wow. This is why I love Gordon. First reaction is, how do I get up there? You know? Gordon's always down to help. Like, compare Gary Oldman and Jeffrey Wright's Gordon to Pat Hingle's Gordon. That Gordon didn't do shit. I love that. I love how proactive Jeffrey Wright's Gordon is. We get that shot of Selina Kyle seeing that Batman's in need of some help. Batman being pulled by the cape, it makes me think. That's true, yeah. Them pulling Batman's cape does make you wonder, why does he bother with the cape? I mean, obviously, I'll never want to see a Batman without his cape, right? Like, Batman has to have a cape. But when you think about the practicality of his cape, it doesn't make sense. There's a shotgun. Fuck. We've seen Batman take so much bullets and take so many gunshots throughout this whole movie, and he eats them all. And that's the first one. So there is a gun that can do some damage to him. It's a high-powered shotgun, obviously. And this shot of the guy we're about to see him put the gun to Batman's face. That would have been brutal if he just blew his fucking head away, right? Like, holy shit. That's like a dark what if ending. There's Selina Kyle. I don't know where the fuck she came from, but I'm glad she's here. And I always love Selina Kyle that ends up doing the right thing. I love that she kisses him here. I love that she tells him it's okay. It's over, even though it's not over. But I love that she is trying to tell him it's okay. Like, you can rest. Kind of like Pepper with Iron Man in Endgame, although he was dying. But she says, you can rest now. She's basically telling him it's okay. There's the kiss. Is her actual real nails sticking through her gloves? Oh no, she gets attacked. Now this moment of Batman, he's too hurt. So he takes out this green liquid. What do you guys think this is? Is it just adrenaline? Some people are saying it might be venom. connected to Bane. He definitely gets a surge of energy and goes fucking ape shit on this dude. He's beating the fuck out of this guy right now. Holy shit. I'm kind of here for it. I kind of love it. But like, the fact that the sound goes away, um, it makes you wonder if it wasn't for Gordon, would Batman have killed that guy right there? How many times has he used this adrenaline liquid? Was that his first time using it? Like he always had it as a just in case thing, but he only used it because she was in danger? This guy's. And here you go. I'm vengeance. And I love Batman's reaction to this. Batman says, fuck, I have inspired a terrorist group. Have you seen Orphan? There's a prequel coming out later this year. I have seen Orphan. The horror movie with the little girl, Esther. Yeah, man, I saw that in theaters. Um, a prequel, huh? Interesting. The whole stadium being flooded, and potentially they're about to be electrocuted. Yeah, that's a shitload of water. Um, I'll probably end up reviewing Orphan before the prequel comes out. And boom, look at that. And Batman just showed his level of sacrifice. Cutting the wire, potentially electrocuting himself. Falling into the water where everybody else is. He's putting himself in the danger. I think this scene, with very little dialogue, is saying so much about this Batman and what this Batman is willing to do for the people of Gotham. This is the moment where Batman realizes that, like, I need to be a hero. I need to be more than vengeance, right? That guy who said I'm vengeance, like, I can't be that guy's inspiration. I need to be these people's inspiration. It's such an interesting arc, an arc that I never even knew I wanted for Batman until I got it, until I saw it, and I said, "Fuck yeah!" You know, I love Batman puts his hand out, and I love that everybody else is hesitant, and the little boy is the first one to grab his hand. The boy who saw Batman earlier and probably said, "No, like Batman's good. I trust him." And then the mayor takes his hand. So now we're getting to a point where the people of Gotham will trust Batman. I mean, I can't wait to see what Batman's reputation is in the sequel. I can't wait to see how much this moment changed Batman's, you know, symbolic meaning to the city. This changes everything. This him leading them with the flare, like you could tell this is a big moment. We got Nirvana back. I never get sick of this song. Ending this movie too with Gotham underwater, that's a fucking choice, man. And I love it. Penguin overlooking the city. I think Penguin's about to become, you know, I don't know if he'll become as ruthless as Falcone was, but he's about to fill that void for sure. I can't wait to see where Penguin goes from here. I wonder if we'll see this mayor character in the future. I mean, we should, but I just, I wonder. I love this. I love him realizing it. I think this ended up being my biggest takeaway from the movie is this moment when this woman holds on to his arm and is afraid to like she trusts him more than, and his reaction to that of like wow, and him telling her it's okay. This is such a subtle, like definitely one of Batman's best cinematic moments here. This is him becoming a hero. Like a true, he's no longer vengeance, he's no longer that. He's becoming something more. A Dark Knight. Duh, duh, duh. Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so when I first saw this scene in the theater, I didn't like it. This was like the one scene I did not like the first time I saw this movie. I think that now that we've seen the deleted scene, um, it's made me more okay with this scene, I guess. And I think the first time when I saw this scene, I thought, oh, are they teasing the Joker as the next villain? Kind of. I don't want to say I'm jokered out because if this Joker, like let's say the next movie is the Joker as the villain, if he's portrayed well, if if he's a different Joker that's interesting and hits and all that stuff, sure, fine, it'll work. But just the idea of another Joker villain movie, not the most appealing thing. But when I started to think more about it, and especially after seeing that deleted scene, the idea of Joker, like let's say throughout this entire trilogy, the Joker is always just locked up in Arkham. And every once in a while, Batman has to go and see him, or somebody has to go and see the Joker and talk to him. Hannibal Lecter style. Like that can work. That could be a different way to use the Joker, an interesting way to use the Joker. Um, you know, there are possibilities here. Or if we end up seeing a movie where Riddler and Joker team up, who knows what that looks like? Joker's face being scarred in that way. It's always hard because the whole scarring, you think of Heath Ledger first. So I don't know how far. Clearly, he's very disfigured in the deleted scene. Selina is leaving Gotham. She referenced Bloodhaven. Is that the first time we've heard Bloodhaven in a live action movie? Have they said Bloodhaven in any other Batman movie before? Not. I'm not talking about Titans or animated. She's right. It's gonna be a power grab. You would figure that Penguin is gonna be the first one to go for that Falcone throne. I wonder if her saying it's gonna kill you eventually, if that's supposed to be like a clue. Like, does Batman die at the end of this trilogy? I don't want that, but who knows what Matt Reeves is planning on doing with this. The Bat and the Cat. It does have a nice ring. And how do you turn down Zoe Kravitz? You know, I wouldn't turn her down. I'd be leaving with her. See her reaction. You're already spoken for. Damn. Damn. Oh shit. I lost my headphones. Wow. See, she doesn't even fight it. She just says you should go. I already know what your choice is going to be. No point in fighting it. Burt Ward as Robin for the sequel. I don't know. Like, should we do Robin? You know, like, should we have a Robin in these movies? It's always hard to do Robin in a realistic way, right? Like, obviously you can do it. It is doable. I think I prefer Batman alone, but at the same time, I've always wanted to see a Batman family in live action. I don't know if you can do Ryan Phillippe because Ryan Phillippe's older than Robert Pattinson, so I don't know if that will work. The problem is that we know that Matt Reeves wants to do a trilogy and then probably end it. So I don't know if you can do a Bat family in just a trilogy and then like I would want the Bat family to be done in a if the DCEU was like the MCU and if it had 30 movies, right? It then yeah, the Bat family would be perfect for that type of scenario. But I don't think the DCEU was ever going to get to a point where they're a long running continuity like the MCU. So it kind of sucks to think about. This moment when they split is pretty sad. You know, Batman looking back at her in the mirror. It's sad because you can tell he had feelings for her. You can tell part of him wants to go with her, but he can't. And wow, what a way to end the movie, huh? He he's choosing his destiny, his path, his road. You know, man, where do we go from here? Wow, 3 hours, damn near 3 hours, and I was not bored. I was not checking the time or the like. I was fully engaged. I was glued to the screen and to the characters. There is something about the Batman universe. As many times as Batman has been rebooted, as many times as we've reset in the Batman world, I am forever intrigued, by what these characters will do, can do. Um, awesome movie, absolutely. This was great. I had a blast. I I have now seen this movie. This is the fourth time I've seen this movie now, and I am not sick of it. I'm not bored of it. As long as it is, it's crazy because you would think that 3 hours, I would eventually get to a point where like, oh, I'm sick of it, or blah blah. Like, I'm definitely enjoying what this movie has in it, the layers this movie has. I will rewatch it again when I get it on Blu-ray. Um, 12 hours worth of the Batman total free. Really? Yeah, 12 hours? It's not longer than that? Are you sure? Because I watched. Uh, this is the eighth Batman movie I watched this year live stream. right? I watched Batman 89, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, uh, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, and this. I'm pretty sure that's longer than 12. That's got to be longer, right? It's got to be. The Dark Knight trilogy and this movie is over 12 hours, right? Is that math right? Braveheart. Trying to think of. Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't know if I've seen Braveheart. I might have seen Braveheart as a kid. And I don't really remember it. Oh. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I misunderstood. Three. Yes, four times watching a 3 hour movie. 12 hours of this Batman movie. You're right. You were absolutely right. 12 hours of my life watching this movie, and I don't regret it at all. Thank you for explaining to me because I'm dumb. I did not know that that's what you meant. Yes, you're right. You're right. Wow. When you put it that way, that's crazy to think about. 12 hours of watching the Batman, and I'm not sick of it. I'm not bored of it. I'm not tired of it. No, yes. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you. Sometimes I'm a little slow. Sometimes I need some help. Sometimes you gotta get me there. Man, this was great. Robert Pattinson, I think, is really good in this movie. Is really great in this movie. But I can't wait to see how much more his Batman and Bruce Wayne will grow. I can't wait to see more Andy Serkis. I can't wait to see what direction they go in as far as villain goes. Um, you know, we might get a Riddler and Joker team up, or maybe we take a left field. I would love a Mr. Freeze, like we talked about. Is it true Pattinson is not playing Batman again? Did I see The Lighthouse? No, I did not see The Lighthouse, but I want to watch The Lighthouse because I've heard really good things about it. I did not hear him say that he's not playing Batman again. Did he say that? Did Robert Pattinson say he's not playing? I was under the impression that we're getting a sequel, but I mean, I guess they haven't formally announced it, but I'm just assuming. Um, that would suck if this is a one and done. You saw a headline. All right, well, I'm going to have to do some research now. I will have to look into that and find out. I hope we get more Robert Pattinson as Batman. Unless they are continuing Batfleck, I don't think Ben Affleck wants to do it. As much as I've heard Ben Affleck say that he's kind of over the superhero thing or over the constant studio interference type deal, you know, I I don't know. Maybe I would be surprised. I'd be very surprised if Ben Affleck came back. I would be very surprised if Robert Pattinson left. I would be surprised. I would. In a perfect world, I would like both. It grossed enough for a sequel. Yeah, it almost made 1 billion. So I know Robert Pattinson's not usually a person that gives a shit about franchises, but I would guess that Warner Brothers has enough money where they would be like, "Hey, Pattinson, you know, I don't know how much it would take, but I don't know. Did Pattinson save all of his Twilight money to where he kind of can just do whatever the fuck he wants? No, maybe. But do you, if you're Robert Pattinson, do you make a Batman movie with the intent that like I'm not going to do sequels? Like if you take the role of Batman, you have to expect that they're going to want you to do more than one, right? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Um, or maybe the piano score is great. Yeah, Michael Giacchino killed it. Michael Giacchino killed the entire score throughout this entire movie, we talk about the main Batman theme because it's the most bombastic and loud and pronounced and memorable. But when you really listen to all of the score, like I said, the Selena theme, I love the Selena score. Every time Selena's on screen, I love her music. Um, yeah, who knows? Maybe Pattinson hated having to work out. Maybe he hated, like, maybe this was more intense than he anticipated. That could be a reason why he would leave. I just, again, I hope not. I hope not. Even if it's only a trilogy, I would want Pattinson to do all three movies and then be out, I guess. Whatever he would want. I don't see this Batman connecting to the DCEU and Justice League and any of that stuff. I see this being standalone Dark Knight trilogy style, right? Where it's its own thing over in this pocket universe, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to see Robert Pattinson meeting Gal Gadot or Aquaman. I don't need to see that at all. I don't need to see a Superman show up in this world. Am I seeing any upcoming movies in the movie theaters? I might go and see that Nicolas Cage movie, the Unbearable, or the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, right? That's what it's called. I might see that in the theater. Um, but either way, I'm definitely seeing Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I already have I pre-ordered my ticket for that. So, yeah. Are we about to get the Riddler question mark? There it is. There's your little after credit scene. Goodbye. And there's the breath. There you go. Ratalada.com .org, whatever it said. It's a lot of fun. You've seen it? Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, there it is. The Batman. It's over. I've been streaming for over 3 hours. That's a long time. And I'm a little, I guess, tired talking. But at the same time, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I hope you guys had fun watching it with me. Whether you watched it live with me or whether you're watching this after the fact with me. We shall be back with a live watch next week. I guess it's going to be X-Men Origins Wolverine. I think that's, you know, I think that's before Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I think another X-Men movie, quite possibly the shittiest X-Men movie. It makes sense. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Love you all. See ya.